What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Touchdowns to Home Runs. Now, if you watch this channel consistently, you'll realize that something's a bit different here. I finally brought my camera back, guys. I'm so sorry for all the technical difficulties that I've had over the weeks, the months. It's been hard, but I've worked really hard to get this back to you guys. I got a whole new microphone. I just dropped $300 on this microphone, and I got this nice stand for it, and I paid for that all out of money I've made off of YouTube because I want to invest back in this channel to make the channel better. I just don't want to go spend this money on my own free will and just for me. I want to invest it back in you guys and make better content and better quality content for you guys. So this is because of you. We just hit 2,000 subscribers. So thank you everyone who has subscribed. Really appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed yet and you love college football, you love sports in general, we promise you, we will not disappoint you on this channel. So definitely go hit that sub button down below. It'd mean a lot. But we got SEC Week 6 coming up. Week 9 of college football in total. We had a good week of SEC football last week. We had Alabama beat Tennessee. LSU beat South Carolina. Missouri beat Kentucky. Who's the other ones? Auburn beat Ole Miss, and I think that was it. There was only 4 games last week, but we're back with 6 different games this week, and I cannot wait to get you guys my predictions for this week. So let's get into it. Starting off at 12 o'clock, the only 12 o'clock game in the SEC this week, we have Georgia, the number 5 Georgia Bulldogs versus the Kentucky Wildcats. Georgia's coming off a loss to Alabama that they played a very good first half in, and second half they struggled. It was a rough second half, and they weren't able to put up anything on the board, and Alabama's offense rolled over them. Kentucky's coming off a loss to Missouri, which I did not see coming. I thought that Kentucky had that game, but what do I know? The SEC is so inconsistent this year. Anybody could beat anybody at any time in the week. It's just, I've been having a really tough time picking these games, because just when I think you know something about the SEC and you think you know who's going to win, it just doesn't happen. The complete opposite happens, and it's been that way for a bunch of different weeks. So this game, I think that it's going to be close in the first quarters of this game. Expect it to be maybe tied at 14 or something like that, late in the first or early in the second quarter. But I feel like after that point, Georgia will end up pulling away from this game and come out with the win by a pretty substantial margin. Like, expect them to win by 21 or something like that. In my opinion, Georgia has the talent to be able to do that to Kentucky, and Kentucky's been struggling lately, so I am taking the Georgia Bulldogs in this one. Next up, we got the 3:30 CBS game coming on CBS, obviously. I don't know why I just said that, but we got the LSU Tigers versus the Auburn Tigers, the battle of the Tigers in Auburn, Alabama. LSU coming off a big win against South Carolina. They put in freshman quarterback TJ Finley to start the game. He plays very well. I think LSU put up 52 points in that game, so that is a lot for a freshman to put up. Very, very pleased with what, if you're an LSU fan, you have to be very pleased with what you saw from him. Auburn coming off a win against a pretty good offensive Ole Miss team. Defense is a different question. I remember a big late drop from Yeboah in the last 10 seconds of that game that would have made that game maybe go into overtime. Depends on what Ole Miss was able to do with the ball inside the 10. But Auburn's been playing some close games. They lost to South Carolina, my Gamecocks, the other week. And LSU just beat them, and LSU just looks like they had the momentum right now. I don't know who's going to start for LSU, whether it's TJ Finley or Miles Brennan, but I feel like with both of those guys, either one could go and beat Auburn. And even though that Auburn's at home, I just feel like LSU's offense is rolling. You saw a lot of good rushing production, which you weren't able to see in prior weeks. You saw some good rushing production by Davis Price and Amory Jr. So those two are going to have to be key. They're going to have to get the run game going here and really open up the passing game. But I just feel like LSU's defense is starting to figure themselves out. LSU's offense is starting to figure themselves out. So I'm taking the Tigers, obviously, in this game, but I am taking the LSU Tigers. Next up at 4 o'clock on SEC Network, we have Ole Miss versus Vanderbilt. Ole Miss, yes, they did just lose to They just lost to, I just talked about this team. They just lost to Auburn. It was a close game. They made it close at the end. Ole Miss is a very, very good offensive team. Defensively is a different question. They definitely got a limit to some teams to a lot lesser of scores, but they're playing Vanderbilt this week. Even though it's in Vanderbilt, that doesn't really matter. This is a game for Ole Miss to just play good football defensively, run off the scoreboard offensively, and just play a good quality game of football. There's nothing that they had to do too much in this game to be able to win. It's Vanderbilt. They're not very good. They're the worst team in the SEC, so I definitely see that Ole Miss could win this game, and I am taking Ole Miss easily in this one. I think that this is a lock for this week. Coming up at 7 o'clock on ESPN, we got the Mississippi State Bulldogs versus the Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama, in my opinion, deserves to be the #1 team in the nation. You see Clemson go out and play a very close and sloppy game versus Syracuse this week. Like, I turned that game on. Since I'm a South Carolina fan, I don't like Clemson at all. So I watched their games and everything because obviously I'm cheering for them to lose. But I just watched that. There were some missed snaps. They were just not able to convert. There were some bad penalties. Alabama's just been playing some very quality football against very quality teams, and I just don't understand. Yes, Clemson beat Georgia Tech 73-7, but do you not think that Alabama could have done that? Alabama beat Georgia 41-24 and didn't let them score a single point in the second half, and Georgia's the 5th team in the nation still with 1 loss under their belt. Like, just comparing to the teams that they've played and everything, I really feel like Alabama should be #1. That offense is elite. Yes, they do lose Jalen Waddle. That is a heartbreaking injury for Alabama. But you still got Najee Harris, who in my opinion is the best running back in college football. I'd say that Devontae Smith and John Mechie are still one of the best receiving duos in the whole nation. Even though you lose your top receiver in Waddle, it's just they got so much depth on that team. Mac Jones is one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football, and this defense is finally starting to figure themselves out and playing some really good defensive football. You saw it against Tennessee. Yes, they did have some bad plays where Garantano was able to throw to the end zone. I remember one where his 2 very long plays that they gave up in a row, and that ended up in a touchdown. But you just eliminate those, especially against Mississippi State. You know they're going to be throwing the ball in the air, but this team has just been given turnovers out like it's Oprah Winfrey on her show. It's just, you get an interception, you get an interception, you all get interceptions. That's what Mississippi State's been doing, so I am taking Alabama in this game easily. Next up, 7:30 on SEC Network. This, in my opinion, is the most intriguing matchup of the whole week. Even more intriguing than LSU Auburn. We got Arkansas versus Texas A&M in Texas A&M. Kyle Field, they packed the stadium even though it's still COVID, so obviously that's going to help having the fans there. I think that if this was in Arkansas, I'd feel a bit better about how close Arkansas is going to make this game, but the fact that it's in Texas A&M, I think highly favors Texas A&M. I do predict this game being close. I predict it being close at halftime. I predict it being close maybe in the third quarter, but in the fourth quarter, I do predict that Texas A&M will pull away. But I really like what I'm seeing from Arkansas this season. Definitely the most surprising team in all of the SEC this year, hands down. Felipe Franks is playing well. Sam Pittman has come in and just made this team good. I really feel like Arkansas can make this a close game, and if they win this game, they're going to make it into the top 25, and they're going to be talked as a legit team in the SEC now. But I feel like Texas A&M still has the more talent on this team. They still have the more momentum and everything. So I am taking the Aggies this game, even especially that they're at home. I am taking the Aggies. Last up at 7:30 on SEC Alternate, we have the Missouri Tigers versus the number 10 Florida Gators in Gainesville. Missouri's coming off a big win against Kentucky and LSU. Florida has not played in 2 weeks, so Missouri could make this a close game at the beginning, but I do see Florida pulling this game out late. Like Kyle Pitts, that whole offense is amazing. Kyle Pitts, Kyle Trask, anyone else on that team, it's just depth everywhere. The offense is amazing. Florida's defense definitely could make a step up, no question about it, but it's against Missouri. It's at home. It's a game that they could win, but I don't want to see Florida sleepwalk into this game thinking that they could just roll over Missouri, because Missouri is coming into this game with some momentum, so you definitely got to watch out if you're Florida. Just don't take this game lightly, and you will be fine if you're Florida. So those are my picks for this week, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Definitely hit that sub button down below. Comment anything about the SEC. Like the video, comment any other videos you'd like to see. I'm going to come out with my Big 10 picks soon. I'm going to come out with my playoff rankings soon, so definitely stick around for that. And thank you for watching, and come back next time.